Ben Chew, you put Johnny Depp on the stand. It's always a high-risk strategy. It worked for you. If you were representing Sean Diddy Combs, would you put him up?
Well, we put Johnny up because he was telling the truth. So that was a very easy decision to make, and he had the burden of proof, and frankly, we couldn't have stopped him even if we wanted to, but we didn't want to. Telling the truth as he did over several days, you're not telling the truth, skilled attorneys on the other side are going to puncture that. I believe in that system. I think in this case, I don't think he's got any choice. Given that video, he's got to explain it. He's got to say that he's terribly sorry for it, but that was an aberration. That's not who he is. He simply has to say that.
Diddy's courtroom drama just exploded, and it all started with one man, Ben Chew, the lawyer who helped Johnny Depp beat Amber Heard. The judge brought him in unexpectedly, and behind the scenes, Diddy did not take it well.
Mr. Depp built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood. A respected artist whose name was associated with success at the box office. Today, his name is associated with a lie.
It's only the third day of jury selection, and tensions are already boiling over. Over 160 potential jurors have been brought in. 49 were dismissed right away. The rest were grilled with nearly 100 questions, asking where they get their news, how they feel about Diddy, and whether they can stay unbiased. Some admitted they don't like him. Others seemed unsure if they could handle the disturbing allegations tied to this case. The list was narrowed to just 35 people from all walks of life: teachers, factory workers, designers, and even social workers, ranging from their 30s to their 80s.
So far, 19 jurors have been qualified. The magic number here is 45, because once the panel reaches that number, the prosecution's and Combs' defense lawyers will use their strikes to get this group down to 12 jurors and a number of alternates. Here's what we know about those who have qualified so far. 2 women have said that they have been sexually assaulted decades ago in the past. They were allowed to continue on. And another woman who said that she had once been arrested for shoplifting for stealing a wand from Harry Potter's world at Universal Studios, also in that panel. Several jurors were dismissed, including one who had seen that hotel surveillance video. She had called it damning evidence, and for that reason, the judge had excused her from the panel. Jury selection will continue Tuesday morning until they get to the magic number 45 and go through those strikes. The judge thinks that will happen this week.
Then came the twist. The judge invited Ben Chew, yes, the same lawyer who defended Johnny Depp, to talk about how celebrity trials work.
Do you also have a member of the team going through the social media of these jurors, making sure they didn't do anything? I mean, how much research can you do in terms of, did they search for something? Did they say something? I always am curious about that, because you come into court the next day and you always hear a prosecutor or defense attorney say, court, we have an issue we would like to bring to your attention. Juror number 5 was looking, it's like, how did they find that out? Is that what happens?
Well, it is in a high-stakes case like this. I mean, as you know, not all clients have the resources to hire, jury consultants and to hire investigators. But in this case, you have a defendant who could theoretically be sentenced to life in prison, who has the means. So I'm sure, or I would think, that his counsel have a team of investigators following the jurors around to the extent they can and looking for any electronic footprint.
Now, I mentioned before how can you believe the jurors? How do you know they're telling the truth? Well, I'll tell you what we've seen so far in the Combs jury selection process, you have what seems to be a lot of honesty, okay? Because you had one prospective juror who told the court that she had been sexually assaulted as a teenager, and that if the defense brings up at trial that, look, these alleged victims didn't report what they say happened to them, this juror indicated they would understand why, and they would be biased in the alleged victim's favor. This juror was excluded.
Chew dropped a bombshell. Usually people want to be on a high-profile jury, but not this one. Why? Because it's not just a scandal. It's a criminal case, and the accusations are disturbing. Jurors could be exposed to graphic evidence and chilling testimony, making them hesitant to participate. Diddy is also reportedly nervous about the jury selection.
This morning, day 2 of jury selection in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Combs, seen in court with graying hair. Federal prosecutors are trying to prove Combs used his power, wealth, and fame to force women into drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs and then threaten them into silence.
The jury questionnaire warning potential jurors there may be evidence of sexually explicit videos, photographs, and language. Many prospective jurors said they had heard of the case and this potentially damning evidence. Video first obtained by CNN showing Combs knocking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to the floor of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and kicking and dragging her. It was upsetting to watch, one woman told the judge, but I don't know the full story, so I can listen to the facts.
Many prospective jurors said they recognized the names of other celebrities that might come up at trial.
Several potential jurors knew of Combs' cultural significance. The woman said she remembered him from Making the Band. A man said he liked to listen to hip-hop in the 1990s.
Can't nobody hold me down.
When Combs became a chart-topping artist. To remain in the jury pool, all had to say they could be fair. The judge tried to keep things moving, so when the defense asked for a bathroom break, Combs apologized, saying, "Sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today."
Diddy, according to insiders, was furious. He wasn't warned about Chu's involvement, and sources say he flipped out behind closed doors. His legal team believes this move could sway the jury before opening arguments even begin.
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
Now, Ben, according to the court today, they expect preemptory challenges on Friday. You have a lot of jurors who saw the Cassie tape. You have a lot of jurors who were exposed to this case or something that's been going on with Sean Combs, know who he is, maybe know a list of the celebrities or places that were potentially going to be brought up in this case. Difficulty of sitting 8 weeks on this jury, but they're going to be seeing and hearing a lot. Do you think that it's going to be tough to sit a fair and impartial jury in Sean Combs' criminal case?
Well, I think they will have a fair and impartial jury. I think the problem is going to come in, with the Cassandra Ventura's tape. I mean, whether you've seen that before, you're certainly going to see that during the trial. And I think that's highly problematic, obviously, for Diddy, whether they've seen it before or not.
Yeah, because the prosecution is saying she was not only running away from Combs, she was running away from a freak-off, that there was a sex worker in that hotel room, and that goes to the charge of sex trafficking, and also racketeering, because sex trafficking is a part of that as well. Okay, so the trial's about to start. We know that Sean Combs early in the week said to the court, "I'm feeling a little nervous today." Let's say openings begin day 1, May 12th, okay? What do you advise your celebrity client to do and not to do as this trial begins and progresses for 8 weeks?
I would remind him to remember that every second he is in the courtroom, at least one juror and probably more are going to be looking at him. So he should act as if he were testifying every second he's in the courtroom.
And things are already getting messy. One juror was removed after admitting they worked for HBO, which recently released a documentary on Diddy. Another failed to disclose their ties to a criminal defense organization, but was still allowed to stay. Starting Friday, both sides can start using their preemptory strikes, kicking jurors off the case without needing to explain, as long as it's not due to race or gender. Ben Chu thinks this phase is critical for Diddy.
Diddy has a very good jury consultant, probably more than one, who is profiling the type of juror who would be most sympathetic to him. And I think it's wise for attorneys, even experienced attorneys, to defer for the most part to those jury consultants. Now, ultimately, it's the client's choice, and the client should be participating in the process, especially where it's here, his liberty is at stake.
And was that something that you had in your case where your client wanted to get involved in the jury selection process? Because it's been reported that Diddy has been almost like nodding to his attorneys or maybe even shaking his head regarding certain prospective jurors. Is that common? Is that what you saw?
I think that is common, and it's it's natural that you would want to have some role in in choosing the people who decide your fate. And it also gives the client, I think, some measure or some feeling of control in a situation where any defendant would have to feel a profound lack of control, because this is not as he's used to controlling his business, his social life, and this is a situation over which he has almost no control. So this is an opportunity for him to have at least a modicum of control.
And these preemptory challenges, each side will get a certain amount of them to strike jurors. It doesn't have to be for cause, it could be for whatever reason they want, but there are limitations. So they can't strike jurors because of race or gender or ethnicity. How on earth is the court supposed to know that? How on earth, the defense or the prosecution's not gonna come out and say that's the reason they're excluding a juror.
But that's just the start. The prosecution is armed with serious evidence, including a 2016 hotel surveillance video showing Diddy physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. That video already aired on CNN, and Diddy has since apologized. But prosecutors say it's just one piece of a decades-long pattern. They allege Diddy orchestrated drug-fueled sex parties, what he called freak-offs, where women were allegedly coerced into participating. According to court documents, he supplied ketamine, magic mushrooms, and even used hidden cameras to record the events. Rapper Chopper recently claimed Diddy had a dark side no one saw.
I seen that too. I seen uncomfortable to my eyes situations for sure. That I don't rock with, you heard me? That's all. I don't rock with it, you know?
And when you would see these celebrities at these parties, they was cool with the environment. They was cool with everything.
Absolutely. Having a ball, like it was 1999. So I don't know, bro. I'm talking about celebrities. I'm talking about big time celebrities. You dig? I was just young city. I was just Chopper. You heard me? But to see like the juggernauts, the big dogs, you dig? The people we grew up watching, it was kind of exciting too. It was weird, exciting, and because you can't believe that you're here. They are accepting you. But I don't really think they was accepting it. They just was fucking having fun. They didn't give a fuck who was there. And it was kind of like a situation towards, what you see in here don't go outside. It was kind of like that, if that makes sense. Whatever happens in here stays in here, because everybody got something to lose in here. So it was kind of like that too. So I guess that made people be okay and willingly able to do whatever they wanted to do in there. You heard me? Because they knew that at the end of the day, it wasn't going to come back out up there. That's why people were so eager and fun to do what they wanted to do in there. Just my opinion. Because everybody has something to lose.
Talking about bizarre behavior, disturbing acts, and even an incident where Diddy allegedly made an unwanted move on an MTV cameraman, who later quit.
One of the producers over there at MTV at the time, who was super cool guy. He actually had the camera walking with us, you heard me, to Brooklyn to get the cheesecake. The first Art Dialogue interview, you heard me, that I did, he DM'd me, and I definitely talked to him. He was like, "Yeah, bruh, how you been, Chop?" I'm like, I'm straight, bruh. Appreciate you hitting me. Long time. He like, "Yeah, bruh, I appreciate your interview, you heard me, that you did on Art of Dialogue." I said, "Thank you, I appreciate you, bruh." And he was like, "You ever notice why I was shooting with y'all and then all of a sudden you haven't seen me after that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because one time Diddy invited me to his office and told me to suck his dick." And he was like, he said, "I damn near wanted to kill him, bro." He was like, I left the office and I quit." And so it don't, with the curse situation, it don't sound far-fetched from what I've heard. You dig? I haven't ever encountered that type of situation with Diddy. Thank you, universe, because I would be in jail right now, facing life or doing life. But I haven't encountered that type of Diddy. You dig? But I don't know, bro. If it walk like a duck and talk like a duck, obviously, it might be a duck. It might be true, bro. That is considered sexual harassment, Sarah. I think that's considered sexual harassment, not what Sarah tried to do. You dig? So With the Kirk situation, I don't know. It just don't sound far-fetched, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. I haven't experienced that with Diddy, so I can't, I can't be like the people that exaggerate and say things that's not true. All I can say is 100 things from my experience. And my results for that answer is it don't sound far-fetched.
Prosecutors claim Diddy used fear, guns, even arson to control victims. One alleged survivor, believed to be Cassie, says Diddy held her over a balcony during a fight. And according to court records, this wasn't an isolated incident.
They also say they found recordings of freak-offs. And the evidence was then used to blackmail these women if they didn't cooperate more.
Diddy's longtime ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filing a lawsuit against him last year that changed everything.
He would direct her how to touch the sex worker, how to pour oil over her body, and he would watch these things happen while he was masturbating.
Cassie Ventura's lawsuit gave the blueprint for the Southern District of New York to investigate Sean Combs, and the lawsuits that followed gave the brick and mortar to build the case against him.
One shocking freak-off the prosecutors allege the Diddy indictment occurring around this incident involving Cassie.
The new video obtained exclusively by CNN.
Prosecutors said there was a male prostitute still in their hotel room. That, prosecutors say, shows that Cassie was trying to get out, and prosecutors in court quoted messages from Cassie talking about the bruises, the fat lip that she was left with.
Initially, Diddy denied all wrongdoing, but after the surveillance video surfaced, he spoke out on his social media.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Diddy's defense team giving a preview of their version of what was happening behind the scenes.
The defense has tried to recast, not as evidence of sex trafficking, but as the simple breakdown of a 10-year loving relationship. And the judge interrupted and said, what's love got to do with that, with kicking someone?
Cassie's lawsuit would be just the beginning of Diddy's downfall. It was settled in 24 hours. But at least 11 others have since come forward, too, with their own civil lawsuits. Diddy denies the allegations in these lawsuits.
Diddy's legal team, however, is ready for a battle, led by criminal defense powerhouse Mark Agnifilo, who's defended everyone from the SGM cult leader to pharma bro Martin Shkreli. They're calling the charges exaggerated. They say Diddy lived a consensual swinger lifestyle and that the hotel video shows a bad moment in a toxic relationship, not proof of trafficking or abuse. And in a bold move, Diddy has rejected a plea deal, insisting he's innocent and ready to clear his name.